I've got some questions. Has anyone thought about how crucial food is to a part of our daily life? Whether we think about it or not, humans need between 2,000 and 2,500 calories per day. And where we get those calories from matters. But has anyone thought about how the food we eat came to be, or where it even came from? There's a rich history and culture in every bite waiting to be unpacked and explored. What better food to be a vessel for this discussion than the taco? I forgot to film an opening for the fish tacos, so instead I'm going to use one from the breakfast tacos. I would like to thank Mr. and Mrs. Gomez for letting me borrow their kitchen. They were kind enough to lend me their photogenic and camera-friendly kitchen, great for filming and taking shots. It was fantastic. It's Thanksgiving break, and first things first, I got to make a load of tacos for everybody. The first thing on that list to do for prep is the jalapenos. So for the jalapeno salsa, I had to grab 1.5 pounds of jalapenos. For those of you who don't know, that's a lot of jalapenos, and I had to clean them and cut off the stems for all of them. I chose to do that because I'm pretty weak when it comes to heat, but for your own discretion, do whatever you want. I don't own a gas stovetop or a gas burner in any way, so I had to put them on a sheet pan and put them in the oven under the broiler to blacken. Wasn't as effective, but it got it done. The salsa called for 8 cloves of thinly sliced garlic, toasted, and half a cup of a neutral flavored oil. For mine, I chose canola oil, but you can use vegetable oil or canola oil as long as it's neutral flavored. You're going to want to toast them until lightly brown. Not dark, not blackened or burnt, lightly brown. Once the garlic's well toasted, you want to separate it from the oil using a strainer and keep the oil. You're going to use that later when you're making an emulsion. At this point, you also might want to check on your jalapenos. They should be getting close to being blackened, and if they're not already blackened, leave them in a bit longer. If they are, you can take them out of the oven, put them in a bowl, and cover them and let them steam. This helps separate the skin from the rest of the jalapeno so you can get rid of all the bitter parts later. For this next step, you're going to want to grab a blender. For my blender, apparently it was either too big or not a good enough blender, and it didn't do the job well enough. So later on, I had to take an immersion blender to it, but more on that later. To the blender, you're going to want to add your jalapenos after you scraped off all the black stuff, your toasted garlic, a few more fresh cloves of garlic, and the juice of 1 lemon or lime. For mine, I chose to use lime because it goes better with all the other flavors I'm going to be using it with. Then, all you have to do is just blend this all together. While blending though, you need to make sure to stream in the leftover oil from when you toasted your garlic. It helps flavor it, 1, and 2, this creates an emulsion which creates better sauces. Once you've done this, you've got yourself some jalapeno salsa. I ended up adding a bunch of extra seasonings afterward to the salsa because it didn't taste right, but that's probably on my end. But anyway, I made it taste well, so. On to pickling. For this, we're going to be using a quick pickle with some red onion in it. Get yourself a jar filled with red onions. Then, in a medium saucepan, combine equal parts vinegar to water. That's your basic pickling liquid. Into that, you can add an assortment of pickling spices. I chose to keep mine fairly simple with some salt and some peppercorns. Bring that mess to a boil, and once it's bubbling, you're going to pour that liquid into the contents of your jar. The heat as well as the vinegar will help make a quick pickle, and you let that rest at room temperature until it's cool. Then you can lid it, fridge it, and enjoy it. Now we got the creme fraiche. It's very simple. You just need 2 limes and a cup or a pint of sour cream. I added the sour cream into a bag to make this easier to clean up. But anyway, you add the sour cream to a bag, and then you squeeze 2 limes and the zest of those limes into the bag. I've been told that rolling your citrus fruits tends to help release more juices. Don't know if it's true or not, but I recommend it anyway. Once you've added the zest and juice of the limes and the sour cream into the bag, you can seal it up, give it the good old shaky business. All that's left now is to taste it and season it to your liking. It took me a couple tries to get it to where I liked it, just add some salt and pepper each time, but eventually I got it right to where I wanted it. After you bottle up all your ingredients, if you want to put them in bottles, which I did, make it easy to disperse, that's the prep done. And then all that's left is to make the fish tacos tomorrow. Day 2, we're going to start off by making a slaw. For mine, I chose to use some cabbage, carrots, and red onion in a slightly acidic dressing made of olive oil and lemon juice. Slaws are usually the perfect thing for tacos. You see them in street tacos all the time. They add the perfect crunch and acidity to every bite. First things first, you gotta clean your cabbage a little bit. Get rid of those nasty outer leaves. No one wants that in any of their tacos. Then you're gonna thinly slice your cabbage. Probably more skillfully than I am, but when I say thin, I mean razor thin slices. Nobody wants big chunks of cabbage in the tacos. Once we're done with the cabbage, we can move on to the carrots. I had the terrible luck of trying to shred the carrots. I don't recommend this. It was a workout and a half. But if you're up to the challenge, you can julienne your carrots or shred them. As you can see, I chose to shred them, and this turned out fine for me, so pick wisely. Now you add your carrots to the bowl as well and move on to your red onion. Simple enough, just give your red onion a good dice and then add it to the bowl as well and give it a good mix before we move on to the vinaigrette. Before you make your vinaigrette, you're going to want to zest your lemons and save that for later. Go ahead and roll them out just like we did the limes earlier. Then you cut them and go ahead and juice them and set them to the side. With that lemon zest, go ahead and add it to your vinaigrette mix so far, just the lemon juice. Add a couple tablespoons of olive oil to it, stir it up really good, and then toss it over your entire slaw, and then give that a good old mixy business. Now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of it all, or the fish in the batter, or the flour in the batter, I guess. Anyway, you're going to combine 1 cup of flour with 2 teaspoons of white pepper, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, and 1 tablespoon of onion powder. And I added a little bit of cayenne pepper to zhuzh it up, you know. Then you're going to crack your 1 little runaway egg into the bowl as well and mix that until a shaggy dough forms. Once your dough ball-ish thing forms, you then can add your beer to the batter and mix it in. Be very careful when you're mixing the beer into the batter. You don't want to lose a lot of the carbonation because that's what allows your fry to be very crispy and light and airy, which is what you want. Once your batter's done, you're going to want to put it to the side and bring out your fish. For my fish, I chose to cut it into long strips, thin enough to finish cooking in the fry. You can do it however you like, but make sure that the size is within the right range. Not too big as to be undercooked on the inside, and not too small as to be overcooked and bad. I would like to acknowledge at this point that I put too much flour into the batter, but no use nitpicking it now. I adjusted the flavorings and stuff in my own recipe, but if you stick to what I said, you should be fine. The next step is frying. You need a heavy bottom pot and fill it with at least 2 inches of oil and heat that to 365 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you're going to toss the fish and some all-purpose flour. In mine, I added extra seasonings because I've heard that when you add seasonings to your flour mixture you're patting your fish with, it enhances the flavor more of what you put in the batter. So I added a little bit of the smoked paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, and other things to make it taste better. Shake off the excess, and then you're going to dip it into the batter and then drop it into the preheated oil. Make sure to do small batches and let them fry 3 to 5 minutes. I do not want to see any giant messes of just convoluted fry mess. No, don't do it. Small batches only, please. Once your fish are done, after 3 to 5 minutes, remove them, put them on a wire rack to cool. And then your fried fish is done. All that's left now is to assemble your tacos with all the stuff we made before, and then you have yourself some genuine fish tacos. Last but not least, the humble breakfast taco. The thing that's been exploited by many big business industries. You can make it so much better by yourself at home. They can be as simple as 2 ingredients, just eggs and a tortilla, but they can also be as complex as the most extravagant, like gourmet BS you can see. I chose to just simply do a tortilla, some eggs, some sausage, and some leftover tortilla cheese from the fish tacos last night. The first step in good breakfast tacos is making your sausage taste good, and that involves getting a nice Maillard reaction going on your meat. Now, for those of you who don't know, Maillard reaction is all the crispy brown bits that form when you're caramelizing meat or other things in a pan. It's what creates flavor, and you want flavor. No gray meat, no bland. Once you've finished cooking one side of your sausage, flip it, and once that's done as well, take them out, and you're going to pour off all the grease and fat that the sausage has left in your pan into a separate container, but leave a little bit to cook your eggs in the pan. All that flavor, all the crispy bits left in there, that's to make your eggs taste fantastic. Then it's time to smash your meat, the sausage meat, that is. This is so we have little bits of meat to sprinkle on the eggs later while they're scrambling, so you get little bites of meat throughout your entire taco. No one wants just a big old honker of a sausage patty just laid on top of the taco. That's not how that works, alright? Then you're gonna crack yourself some eggs into a container. My choice was a cup because it was convenient and easy. And then add some salt and pepper and give it that good old wixy business. You know, either using a fork like I did or an actual whisk. Once your eggs all mixed together nice and evenly, you're gonna pour them into the piping hot pan you just cooked your sausage in. You'll immediately notice the eggs will start to bubble and crackle, and you're gonna wanna start stirring immediately. Scrambling eggs is a very fast process, and never take your eyes off of it. You wanna keep as small of a curd as you can at first, but as you cook longer, you're gonna wanna let it sit more so you get larger curds and larger pieces of egg for your tacos. At this point, you also want to add your sausage so it can mix with your eggs very evenly. Once your eggs are all done, you're going to pull them off the heat. Actually, before your eggs are even done, pull them off the heat, because the residual heat helps cook your eggs to their finished point without overcooking them. The reason I say that is because my family prefers their eggs cooked a little harder, but some of you might like them softer. It's all up to personal preference, but we like ours a little more done in this house. Then all that's left to do is to assemble your tacos, add some cheese, and then bam, you got yourself a breakfast taco. A quick, simple breakfast taco.
Wait, is that what you just... I thought you just grabbed the cayenne pepper.
I did. It's not cayenne pepper.
What do you mean? The cayenne pepper's right there. Did you just put cayenne pepper in your smoked paprika?